Before I begin my prepared remarks, I just want to say thank you to everyone for coming out. I think this is a real statement, especially because it's so cold and that you're here. It really means that you care about this issue and you're going to do nothing will stop you from coming out and doing what's right. So kudos to all of you.
Round of applause.
You're an example for the rest of the village. I need to find a place with some light.
I got you.
Okay, all right.
Oh, hold on. We'll just.
That's why
Okay,
you
okay.
That's why you
Thank
hang
you.
out with knitters.
Thank you. And thank you to the speaker before me, because I also have very strong words today, so you're not the only one. So, dear friends, when people think of Skokie, they think of diversity. Homeowners in Skokie proudly display signs which read, "Skokie welcomes everyone." In that sense, Skokie is a product of American ideals. E pluribus unum. Out of many, we are one. We are a land of immigrants, and what binds us together is not a race or religion, but a set of common values and principles. Values such as freedom, democracy, meritocracy, equality, tolerance, individual rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, ruggedness and resilience, hard work, innovation, and excellence, conquering the frontier of geography and of scientific knowledge, the cultivation of virtue, cherishing the family as the building block of society. These are the values that our armed forces fight for and our elected officials swear to uphold and defend. These are what make us Americans. Some people call this the American experiment. Never before in history has a nation been defined or formed in this way. The word nation usually refers to a group of people with a shared ethnicity. Most nations of the world were formed around a pre-existing homogeneous ethnic or cultural group, with the political state structure developing later to represent that group. The United States, on the other hand, was founded on a set of political principles and ideals, with the American people being defined by their adherence to these shared civic values. It's an experiment 250 years in the making, with no guarantees as to its staying power. That's why Benjamin Franklin, when asked what kind of government the new country would have in 1787, answered, "A republic, if you can keep it." What happens in Skokie is important to our fate as a country. This horrible incident, which took place on October 7th, 2025, in this park is a test case. The kids who threatened and shot at Jewish children did not invent that hatred on the spot. They learned it from parents or teachers, from environments where this un-American thinking and behavior is fostered. When one group of young Americans attacks another group of young Americans because they subscribe to a different religious belief, and when this behavior goes unpunished, it begs the question, can we keep our country together? Through the lens of the Jewish experience, the past 80 years of American life offered a reprieve from the anti-Semitism which had previously been almost hard-coded into the law of nature for thousands of years. In the words of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, who escaped from a Europe consumed in violent ideologies, America was a Medina shel Chesed, a country of kindness. Things were so good that mainstream American organizations and Jewish institutions tasked with fighting anti-Semitism and hate became complacent. Some were sidelined by red herrings, like the Shabbat-observing pro-Israel Charlie Kirk and his Turning Point USA organization. Others went after microaggressions against refugees or illegal immigrants. Almost all downplayed the obvious, in-your-face anti-Semitism growing in recent years, from the poorest neighborhoods of our inner cities to the elite bastions of the Ivy League to the foreign ideologies imported by unvetted non-citizens from places that hate everything about our way of life. The people who refuse to accept American values, promote hatred of America, spread conspiracies about Jews, and abuse the generosity of our great country all put our Jewish safety at risk. In recent years, hatred and conspiracies have turned to all-out punchings, stabbings, shootings, and firebombings. Anti-police rhetoric has weakened our justice system and encouraged blatant disregard for the laws that keep us safe. Thankfully, many of these institutions have woken up after October 7th and its aftermath in this country. But the damage has been done. Hundreds of thousands of American Jews today after having listened carefully for years, have joined forces with the enemies of Jews, America, and Western civilization in the name of so-called Jewish values. In short, that notion, called the American experiment, is being tested today like never before. Does the American experiment devolve into a violent power struggle of tribes, each competing for power and resources in a zero-sum game? Or does equality before the law, tolerance, individual rights, and acceptance of shared American values prevail? Does moral clarity fade into confusion and become a vacuum filled with clashing moral codes? Or do we hold on to our sacred calling as Americans to bravely defend our country, our values, and our rights and responsibilities to each other? I want to thank the Chicago Jewish Alliance for leading by example. Their tireless and cogent defense of all we hold dear is more necessary now than ever before. Can we keep our republic? As Skokie goes, so goes the nation. Thank you.
Very good.